It's the end of week 3 for the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and I can hardly believe it's almost been a month. This has been so much fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching everyone show you how they make the best use of their pantries and freezers. I know I've had a good time watching all the videos. So this week we were out of town for a few days, so I'll show you kind of what I packed for the car. It wasn't much, but it did follow the Pantry Challenge rules. And then when we got back, I did manage to get a good bit of cooking done, and I got a great deal of canning done. So I'm looking forward to showing you what I've done this week. Welcome, this is Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's get started. For the car picnic, I made some chicken salad, took some seed crackers, some salami, and the kombucha we made last week. I also packed some chia pudding for breakfast while we were there. By the time we got back from Atlanta, it was time for a big salad. So I went to town on the salad bar. It was a little bit droopy when I got back, but a good watering fixed that. So we had a huge salad. Try to get some of this cleared out just a little bit. I have so much left of the salad bar, which is wonderful. We'll continue to eat it until it is completely gone. I finally started to grow some lettuce outside. So hopefully that'll be ready by the time this is done. In the meantime, we're going to take full advantage of this. See, I try to get all back through the container so I'm not just clipping the front plants. And there we go. That's our salad for today. Now, back upstairs, I pulled some peach pecan chutney that I thought might be good to add to the dressing on the salad. And it was not fantastic, but it was pretty good. So on this day, I had done a ton of canning. I did the chicken verde meal starter that I showed you a while back, and I'll put a link to that up above. Saved out a few pieces of chicken, decided that we would have these with dinner. So I pounded them out, seasoned them up, and then turned them over to David to take out to the grill while I got the salad ready. Just a little salt, pepper, some garlic, and some cumin on these. I wanted a little bit of spice because I had the sweet dressing. All right, let's move on to putting that salad together now. So I used as many greens as I could possibly get in there. We had not had a salad while we were in Atlanta, so we were really craving this. So here I am making the dressing. That's a little bit of that peach pecan preserve. I used some white balsamic vinegar and some extra virgin olive oil. And there you go. It was really good, except the pecans in it were a little strange. So anyway, here I am making my typical salad. So you've seen me make the cranberries and oh my goodness, yes, look at this. I had run out of apples this week because someone I know ate my remaining fresh apples. So I used dried apples on this one, and it was okay. It wasn't fantastic. I did end up replacing some apples later in the week, as you will see. So I like to give my salads a good toss. I want the dressing all the way through. Grilled chicken back in. David does a nice job on the grill. So here we go. I'll just put this together. And this is dinner. This is one of our standby dinners. I'm sure you figured that out by now. Salad and grilled meat is really what we like to have. David likes his chicken on the side. I like mine chopped up and in my salad. I mean, it just makes the perfect bite. David is, I don't know if you can see him there. He's sitting there wondering if he can take his plate yet. I'm going, no, I have to film it. Hang on. So this is mine. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Here comes David's, and now we're going to let him go eat his dinner. So the next day I had one piece of leftover chicken. I just turned it into a little wrap for myself. David wasn't home, so that was quick and easy. The following day, I had taken out a bunch of sausage to defrost that I was going to can. So I saved one pack for dinner. Then I found some things in the fridge. There was some leftover apple cranberry chutney, some homemade mustard, a little sweet pickle relish from the pantry, some leftover corn relish that I pulled out of the fridge, and then I grabbed some barbecue sauce from the pantry. And then, it's very exciting, I grabbed our first container of french fries. We made these together back in November, and here we go. They look good, don't they? Easy to make. I cannot believe I have not canned french fries before. They came straight out of the jar, drained them a little bit. They look great. It was really no discoloration at all. A couple little spots where some of the sugars gathered, but they look terrific. So I decided to do them in the air fryer. So I'm just going to toss them in a little bit of avocado oil and a little bit of salt. Threw them in the air fryer. I think I did about 6 minutes and then shook them up and did them another 4 or 5 minutes. So that was a piece of cake while I made the sausages. Cooking, I decided to make a little cranberry barbecue sauce for dipping. It was really quite good. I wish I'd used a little more of the chutney, but it was kind of a nice change from plain old barbecue sauce. All right, time to plate it up. David was quite hungry, so not only did he eat these 2 sausages I put on the plate, but when I came back after dinner to the kitchen to clean up, he had eaten another one as well. So here come the fries. They turned out perfect. I added the rest of the corn salsa to mine. That was really nice too. I liked the little bit of crunch, the little sweet, the little heat. It was good. David, of course, doused his entire plate in hot sauce, which is what he tends to do. There we go. Now, one of the main benefits of pulling all of that sausage out of the freezer was that I discovered bacon. David was so excited he couldn't stand it. I didn't think we had any bacon. So I got that fried up. We're going to have a big breakfast this morning. I pulled out some of the keto bread that I had made the other day, and we're going to turn that into French toast, to have French toast and bacon. So I had cleaned up my pan because I did get the bacon a little blacker than I wanted my French toast cooking in. So I did save the oil and I put some of the clear bacon grease back in. And here goes the French toast. So with using the keto bread and the keto syrup I'm going to use, this, believe it or not, when you see this, was an entire keto breakfast. It was absolutely delicious. I need to do this more often. We had French toast a lot when I was a kid, and I haven't had it very often recently, and I miss it. So there's a syrup I use. It's fantastic. It is made with allulose. It has no aftertaste. It tastes just like maple syrup. and we love it. So here comes David's plate. He's been circling around me, waiting for it to be ready. Oh, he's going to get his wish. Again, there's never enough bacon for David, so he does come back and clean out the rest. Here we go with the syrup. Tell me that doesn't look amazing. And it's keto. All right, now we're going to start the canning of the sausage. This took me all day. I ended up doing 26 pints, which I'll show you here in a bit. I had all kinds of sausage in the freezer. I had link sausage, I had pork sausage, I had turkey sausage. A lot of it was starting to get a little freezer burn, so I'm really glad that I got on to doing this. I think I did 4, maybe even 5 batches of this. I had both canners going. This little chopper, man, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have this little chopper on days like today. So I got everything canned up. I just used pint jars for this because that's the size that works for us. So if I'm going to make spaghetti, or if I'm going to make a frittata, or if I'm going to make a pizza or something, we use about a pint. This is mostly hot Italian sausage. You know, there are a few different varieties mixed in, but that's what I'm going to call it. I did so many batches of this, you can see I didn't even bother to drain the entire pot out. I just used a spoon, let it drain out a little bit. Ended up with a little more fat than I would ordinarily want in my jar, but that's okay. I can always drain it if I don't want it in my final product. So here we go. Look at this, 26 pints of canned sausage and 12 quarts of the chicken verde meal starter. So I'm really happy to have all of this in the pantry. Now let's move on to some lemons. I have had these in my refrigerator staring at me since Christmas. My daughter, when she was here, sent her boyfriend and my husband out to the store because she needed a lemon. They went to Costco and this is what they came home with. So she used her lemon and this is what I had left. So I was struggling with what to do with it. I'm not really a preserved lemon kind of girl. So I was watching a Thomas DeLauer video and he talked about how great lemon is for blood sugar. So I thought, all right, fine. I will just squeeze it up and turn it into some lemon ice cubes. And that worked out quite well. I have a little bit left that I have been using, just pouring it straight into my water, and then I'll use those lemon ice cubes. I will link Thomas's video up above. I really enjoy him. He gets a little sciencey, but I'm a little kind of a science nerd myself. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, give his videos a try. Now I'm going to make a frittata for dinner. Had a few more things I wanted to use up, some onions that are kind of nearing end of life here. So I got one of these chopped up. And then if you'll remember, we had the sausages the other night for dinner. David managed to leave one. So rather than opening a jar of just canned sausage, I thought I would just go ahead and chop this up into tiny little pieces and spread it throughout the frittata. It worked out quite well. It was plenty of sausage for a giant frittata. And then rather than using my hash browns, because I only have 2 jars left of the hash browns, these are the potatoes that I canned up to use for mashed potatoes. It turns out we just don't really eat mashed potatoes very often. So I thought, well, I'll use these. They're going to be kind of hidden in the frittata, so they don't need to be perfect little cubes like hash browns. I chopped them up. You can see that they are fully cooked. By the time they're done in the canner, I could certainly make potato salad out of these or throw them into soup or stew and they would be just perfect. They just need to be heated through. So these worked out really well. And then in the freezer, I had a bag of mixed peppers that I diced up and froze. I think it was October, November. And so I like to use those as often as I can. So here's a little bacon grease in the pan. We'll throw the potatoes in to get them crisping up, browning up just a little bit before I throw the rest of the ingredients in. You can see David circling. Thinking dinner smells good, wondering when it's coming. Here he brings me a nice little surprise, a glass of Prosecco. I think that was his, please hurry up, it smells good. These crisp up so well. It's so much faster than starting with fresh potatoes. And there's no dicing, peeling, dealing with all of that. So we'll toss in the onions. In a second here, I'll throw in the peppers and the sausage. And then we'll let that cook down for just a little bit before I add the eggs. This frittata is going to have 8 servings in it, and I believe I used 10 eggs in this. I know that's a lot of eggs, but I have this wonderful friend who left me some eggs, so I did have enough to use for this. So we'll let this crisp up for a bit and then toss in those eggs. This right here would be a great hash, so I could have put this in a bowl and a couple of fried eggs on top, and that would have been terrific as well. Now I'm going to let this cook about halfway on the stove, and then I'm going to put it in the oven. I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees, and it won't be too long in there, maybe 7 or 8 minutes in the oven. And when you're going to do this, remember that you need to use a pan that has a handle that can go in the oven. And then when you take it out of the oven, you need to remember not to touch the handle. I tend to do that every time, and I have a burn mark on my wrist, of course, from that. But anyway, while that cooks up, let's make another salad. You've seen me do this 100 times. There's my fresh apple I bought to replace the ones that David ate. So we'll just whip this up real quickly. I'm just going to add a simple olive oil and white balsamic vinaigrette dressing. I feel like you must be bored with this particular salad by now, but it is my favorite, so I'll try to come up with something new for next week. And so here's the frittata. It's looking good. Checking to see if it's set. Yep, feels good. Let's get it out. Okay, I cut this into 8 pieces. And we're just going to have one with our dinner. I think David went back and got a second one, but that's fine with me. I will now use this as breakfast for the next few days. I used to get, back when I could eat dairy, I used to get a quiche and side salad whenever I'd go out for lunch, and it was always one of my favorite things. And then when dairy turned out to be an issue for me, I wasn't able to do that anymore. So this has been a great substitute for that. Here we go. This is the last meal for the week. I want to thank you so much for being here, and I hope you will stay tuned because I have some bloopers for you coming up. Fairly easy. We'll see how next week goes. Anyway, back to this week. It was quite a bit of canning done, so I'm looking forward to showing you what we had for dinner this week. Okay. Well, we're at the end of week 3, and I could hardly believe we've been at this for 3 weeks. Eat while we were there, so I'll show you those. It's the end of week 3 for the Three Rivers Challenge, and I could hardly believe it's almost been a month. So I'm really excited to show you this week. We did some traveling the first few days of the week, It's the end of week 3 for the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and I can hardly believe it's already been almost a month. This has been so much fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching everybody and how they're using their pantry. So, it's the end of week 3 of the Three Rivers Challenge, and I can hardly believe it's almost been a month. This has been so much fun and reasonably easy so far. Now we'll see what happens next month. Can you believe? It's the end of week 3 for the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and I can hardly believe it's almost been a month. This has been so much fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching everyone show you how they make the best use of their pantries and freezers. I know I've had a good time watching all the videos. So this week we were out of town for a few days, so I'll show you kind of what I packed for the car. It wasn't much, but it did follow the Pantry Challenge rules. And then when we got back, I did manage to get a good bit of cooking done, and I got a great deal of canning done. So I'm looking forward to showing you what I've done this week. Welcome. This is Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's get started.